A former casino floor manager just revealed which slot machines casinos deliberately position in high-visibility locations, and what he shared could completely change how you navigate the casino floor. These 8 machines have some of the worst odds in the building, but you'll find them in the most prominent spots for a very calculated reason. Machine number 1, Lightning Link. Walk into almost any major casino, and you'll spot this machine within seconds of passing through the main entrance. That's not an accident. A former floor manager named Mike spent 7 years overseeing machine placement at a regional casino, and according to his account, corporate sent explicit directives requiring Lightning Link machines to be positioned within 50 feet of primary entrances. The reasoning behind this placement reveals something most players never consider. These machines serve as what internal documents call attraction machines, designed specifically to pull people into a gambling mindset the moment they enter the building. The technical specifications tell part of the story. Lightning Link typically operates with a return to player percentage between 86 and 88%, according to internal placement documents reviewed by former employees. But the real purpose goes beyond the math. These machines feature multiple screens, elaborate lighting packages, and sound systems calibrated to project across large distances. When someone hits even a modest bonus, the sensory explosion creates the impression that everyone around these machines is winning. Casino managers understand human psychology, and that first impression when you walk through the entrance shapes your entire visit. If you immediately see flashing lights and hear celebration sounds, your brain registers the casino as a place where winning happens. The denomination structure reinforces the strategy. Lightning Link runs from 88 cents per spin up to $8.80 and beyond, much higher than typical penny slots. Players drawn to these entrance machines often begin their session betting amounts they'd normally reserve for later in the visit. Mike described the corporate logic during his training sessions. Get players into an elevated gambling mindset immediately, and they'll maintain higher bet levels throughout their entire casino visit. And if you think entrance placement represents the extent of these manipulation tactics, you wait until you hear where casinos position machine number 2. This one capitalizes on a completely different vulnerability, and the internal strategy documents reveal something even more calculated. Buffalo Diamond doesn't sit near entrances. Instead, floor managers deliberately place these machines along main walkways, connecting popular destinations. Former employees describe these locations as interruption stations, strategically positioned on the paths between restaurants, bathrooms, and exit doors. A documented case involves a woman named Sarah who walked past a Buffalo Diamond machine 4 times while traveling between the poker room and the restaurant. On her 5th pass, she stopped to play. 8 hours later, she'd lost $6,000. The placement wasn't random. Internal training documents reveal the technical reasoning behind Buffalo Diamond's walkway placement. The machine operates with a return to player percentage between 87 and 89%, depending on denomination, but the placement strategy exploits what behavioral psychologists call decision fatigue. When you're moving between activities, your brain operates in transition mode. You've just finished dinner, or you're heading to the bathroom, or you're walking toward the exit. In these moments, your decision-making operates differently than when you're actively seeking gambling opportunities. Casino floor managers receive specific training on this concept. Former employees report that placement guidelines explicitly identify high-traffic transitional zones and mandate positioning the highest volatility Buffalo variants along these pathways. Yet the mathematical reality compounds the psychological manipulation. Consider a typical playing session at $2 per spin. Over 100 spins, you'll wager $200. With an 87% return rate, you'll get back approximately $174. The casino keeps $26 from just that brief interruption while you were walking to dinner. But volatility means many sessions dramatically exceed that average loss. Sarah's story illustrates the danger. She hadn't planned to gamble during those trips between the poker room and restaurant. The machine interrupted her intended path, and the interruption cost her $6,000. Now, the first 2 machines reveal placement tactics focused on entrances and walkways. But machine number 3 represents a completely different strategy, one that's even more insidious because it exploits brand recognition rather than physical positioning. Wheel of Fortune 4D sits at the center of casino floors, positioned at eye level in the main gaming areas. But the reason goes beyond simple visibility. A former slot director named Jennifer spent 12 years managing machine procurement and placement. According to her account, casinos pay substantial licensing fees to offer Wheel of Fortune machines, and those fees create financial pressure to maximize revenue from these specific games. The technical specifications matter here. The penny denomination version typically operates with an 88% return to player percentage, but the licensing costs force casinos to push higher denomination play. The 4D element adds another layer. The moving chair, wind effects, plus and enhanced sensory features cost the casino money to purchase and maintain. To recoup these expenses, floor managers position multiple units in central, high-traffic zones and actively direct players toward them. The brand recognition creates a false sense of security. Players see the familiar television show imagery and feel like they understand the game. They've watched Wheel of Fortune on TV for decades, so the slot machine version feels comfortable, almost safe. But that familiarity has zero bearing on the return-to-player percentage or win probability. Jennifer described the internal strategy during her tenure. Training documents explicitly taught floor managers to prioritize these machines when interacting with whale players, the industry term for high rollers. The denomination range extends to $25 per spin, and casinos pay those licensing fees specifically because brand recognition encourages players to bet at the upper end of that range. And speaking of machines, casinos pay premium fees to offer. Wait until you hear about machine number 4. This one has former employees admitting they felt guilty every time they directed someone toward it, and the reason reveals something disturbing about how casinos train their staff to respond to player questions. Dancing drums appears specifically near high-denomination slot areas, but the placement serves a purpose most players never recognize. Former floor attendant Marcus worked 3 years responding to the most common question casino employees hear: "Where should I play?" According to his account, managers explicitly directed staff to recommend dancing drums, and the reasoning exposes a calculated strategy. The return-to-player percentage varies wildly depending on denomination, ranging from 85% at the lowest levels to 90% at the highest, but the lower denominations carry the worst odds. Floor managers position dancing drums between penny slot areas and dollar slot areas, creating what internal emails describe as a bridge machine. Players comfortable with penny slots see dancing drums as a middle ground option, but the return percentage is actually worse than the machines on either side. The progressive jackpot feature requires higher bets to activate fully, which normalizes increased spending. Marcus described the psychological impact of this placement strategy. Players who typically spend $50 on penny slots encounter dancing drums and perceive it as a reasonable step up in stakes, and they shift to what feels like medium denomination play, but they end up spending $200 instead of their usual $50. The guilt Marcus mentioned came from knowing the mathematics. Casino employees understand that players are getting worse odds on these recommended machines, but corporate priorities demand maximum visibility for specific high-hold games. One quote from his account stands out: "We knew players were getting worse odds, but corporate wanted these machines visible from every penny slot bank." That deliberate positioning between lower and higher denomination areas serves a clear purpose. It graduates players from comfortable betting levels to higher risk play, while making the transition feel natural and moderate. Now, as the first 4 machines demonstrate how casinos use physical placement strategy to push specific games, but machines 5 through 8 reveal something even more calculated. And understanding this shift matters because it changes who you trust on the casino floor. The first 4 machines rely on where they're positioned in the building, but the next 4 machines get pushed through something far more personal. Casino hosts, floor attendants, and player club representatives receive explicit training on which machines to recommend, and players trust these employees to provide friendly advice. That trust creates a vulnerability casinos exploit systematically. Before revealing machine number 5, I need to ask you something important. This information could save you hundreds or even thousands of dollars, and casinos actively discourage employees from sharing these details publicly. If you find this valuable, please subscribe to this channel, and let me know in the comments if you've ever asked a casino host which machine to play and whether you won or lost. That information helps other viewers understand how widespread these recommendation practices have become. All right, let's get into machine number 5, because this one is particularly sneaky, and the training materials former employees shared reveal exactly why hosts suggest this specific game. Machine number 5, 88 Fortunes. This machine tops the list of games casino hosts are trained to recommend when players ask for suggestions. A former casino host named Angela worked 5 years in player development, and according to her account, she received structured internal training on which machines to suggest to guests. The training materials specifically listed 88 Fortunes as a safe recommendation, and understanding why casinos consider it safe exposes the entire strategy. The technical specifications tell part of the story. The machine operates with a return-to-player percentage between 86 and 87% on standard denominations, but the denomination range extends from 88 cents per spin up to $88 per spin. Players who follow host recommendations typically bet higher than they would selecting machines independently. Thus, the FUBAT jackpot feature requires maximum bet to unlock all 4 progressive levels, which creates immediate pressure to increase stakes. The psychological trap operates on multiple levels. When a uniformed casino host recommends a specific machine, players interpret that suggestion as insider advantage. They believe the employee knows something other players don't, or that the recommendation represents expert guidance. The Asian-themed aesthetic attracts a specific demographic, and hosts receive training on matching player profiles to machine recommendations. But players don't receive expert advice. They receive directions toward high-hold machines that generate maximum revenue. A documented case illustrates the real-world consequences. A player named Robert approached a host asking which machine offered the best chances. The host directed him to 88 Fortunes and explained the progressive jackpot feature. Robert typically bet $1 per spin, but after the recommendation, he increased to $8.80 per spin to maximize his jackpot opportunities, according to the host's explanation. Over 4 hours, he lost $3,200 instead of his usual $400 budget. The mathematics reveal why casinos train hosts to make these recommendations. At $8.80 per spin over 300 spins, Robert wagered $2,640. With an 87% return rate, his expected return was $2,296.80, creating an expected loss of $343.20. But volatility means most sessions exceed that mathematical average. Casino training documents frame the logic explicitly. This machine has enough frequent small wins to keep players happy, but the hold percentage means the house always profits. Angela described feeling conflicted about these recommendations because she understood the mathematics players didn't see. And if you think trained recommendations represent the worst of these tactics, wait until you see machine number 6. Several former employees identified this as the machine they recommended most often and regretted most deeply, and what they learned about its internal performance data changed how they viewed their entire role in the casino operation. Machine number 6, Huff and More Puff. Former casino hosts identify this as the regret machine, and the reason exposes something deeply troubling about how recommendation systems actually function behind the friendly customer service facade. A former host named Patricia worked 6 years in player services before learning the internal performance data on machines she'd been recommending multiple times per shift. According to her account, she directed dozens of players toward Huff and More Puff based on her training materials before accessing reports that revealed the actual return-to-player percentage. Her direct quote captures the moral weight. "When I found out the actual RTP, I felt sick about how many people I'd directed to it." The technical specifications explain her reaction. Huff and More Puff operates with a return-to-player percentage between 85 and 87% depending on denomination, positioning it among the lowest RTP ranges for modern video slots. The high volatility structure creates occasional substantial wins that justify the casino's aggressive push, but the mathematical reality punishes most players severely. Casinos push this machine hard for reasons that extend beyond simple hold percentage. The game functions as a sequel to the popular Huff and Puff machine, which creates built-in brand trust among players familiar with the original. The More Puff feature sounds like improved odds or enhanced winning potential, but the return percentage actually drops compared to the original version. Floor managers receive quarterly bonuses based on the hold percentage of machines they actively recommend, when creating financial incentive to push specific games. Internal documents reveal that casinos track which machines hosts recommend and correlate those suggestions directly to casino profit. The machines generating the highest host-driven revenue get prioritized in training materials and staff meetings. Huff and More Puff consistently ranks in the top 3 for host-recommended revenue generation across multiple casino chains. The player perspective matters here because it reveals the trust dynamic. When someone approaches a casino host asking for machine recommendations, they expect the employee to act in their interest. The interaction feels personal and helpful. Players interpret host suggestions as insider guidance from someone who knows the gaming floor. But reality operates completely differently. Hosts receive training explicitly designed to maximize casino revenue while maintaining sufficient player satisfaction to prevent complaints. Patricia described the conflict between her customer service role and the financial pressure to recommend specific machines. She wanted to help players find enjoyable gaming experiences, but her performance reviews measured her success by how much revenue her recommendations generated. Now, machine number 7 takes this recommendation strategy even further, and what former employees revealed about this specific practice should concern anyone who's ever signed up for a casino loyalty program. This machine gets pushed during player club enrollment, and the tactic reveals something calculated about how casinos establish betting patterns from a player's very first tracked session. A Fu Dai Lian Lian Dragon appears prominently near player services desks, and former Players Club representative David spent 4 years enrolling new members before speaking publicly about corporate policies surrounding these registrations. According to his account, representatives received explicit instructions to walk new signups directly to Fu Dai Lian Lian Dragon immediately after completing their enrollment paperwork. The stated reason involved demonstrating how to use the player card, but the actual purpose went much deeper. The machine operates with a return-to-player percentage between 86 and 88%, but the minimum bet starts at 88 cents per spin, substantially higher than typical penny denominations. That elevated minimum creates immediate high wagering activity on the new player account. Casino tracking systems flag accounts showing significant betting volume during initial sessions, and these players receive targeted promotional offers designed to encourage return visits. The psychological setup operates across multiple dimensions. When a player's first experience with their loyalty card involves any win at all, they associate the card itself with good fortune. The casino establishes an elevated betting baseline that shapes future visit expectations. Players begin to connect their loyalty card specifically with this high-denomination machine, creating habitual return play. A documented case demonstrates the long-term impact. A new player club member named Michelle received her card and was walked directly to Fu Dai Lian Lian Dragon by the enrollment representative. She won $400 during that first tracked session, which felt like immediate validation of joining the loyalty program. She returned 9 more times over the following 6 months, playing the same machine because she associated it with that initial win. Across those 9 visits, she lost $3,800 total. Her player account still shows Fu Dai Lian Lian Dragon as her most frequently played game. The internal casino logic accepts occasional first-visit wins because the betting pattern established during enrollment generates substantially higher lifetime revenue. Players who start their tracked play at 88 cents per spin continue betting at or above that level during subsequent visits, whereas players who begin with lower denominations tend to maintain lower betting patterns long-term. But we're approaching the final machine on this list, and this one represents something bigger than individual casino tactics. What former employees revealed about machine number 8 shows where the entire industry is heading, and understanding this trend matters because it affects every major casino destination in the country. What former employees across multiple casino chains revealed about the industry's direction should concern every player who walks onto a gaming floor. Because this isn't about one casino's strategy anymore. This represents a coordinated shift happening simultaneously in Las Vegas, Atlantic City, and regional casinos nationwide. Multiple former floor managers, slot directors, and placement coordinators independently reported identical corporate directives, and the pattern exposes something far larger than individual machine tactics. Machine number 8, Dragon Link. This isn't just one machine, it's an entire series that's taken over premium floor space across the country, and the coordination between manufacturer and casinos reveals a business model that's fundamentally reshaping how gaming floors operate. Former employees from 3 different states, working at casinos owned by separate parent companies, all described receiving the same placement instructions for Dragon Link machines. That level of consistency doesn't happen accidentally. The series includes Dragon Link Autumn Moon, Dragon Link Golden Century, Dragon Link Panda Magic, and more than 12 other variants. Each version shares identical core mechanics wrapped in different visual themes, and that consistency serves a calculated purpose. The return-to-player percentage ranges from 86 to 88%, depending on which specific Dragon Link variant you encounter. But the push strategy operates on multiple levels simultaneously. Floor managers receive directives to dedicate entire banks of 6 to 12 machines exclusively to Dragon Link variants. Walk into any major casino, and you'll find these banks positioned in prime locations, occupying space that previously featured diverse machine types. Casino hosts across different properties report receiving training materials that specifically list Dragon Link series as recommended games. Internal documents from 3 separate casino chains, reviewed by former employees, show identical language describing Dragon Link as a safe suggestion for player inquiries. Tournament schedules reveal another layer. Casinos run Dragon Link-specific slot tournaments to drive traffic directly to these machine banks. Promotional signage appears throughout gaming floors. Freestanding displays, digital screens above the gaming floor, and printed materials all feature Dragon Link branding prominently. The machine banks themselves receive enhanced lighting packages and upgraded sound systems that project across larger distances than standard slot configurations. The reason behind this coordinated push reveals a manufacturer-casino partnership model that's expanding rapidly. Aristocrat, the company producing Dragon Link, provides substantial incentives to casinos that dedicate premium floor space to their products. Former slot director Tom spent 9 years managing machine procurement before leaving the industry. According to his account, Aristocrat representatives visited quarterly to audit floor layouts and provide specific recommendations on Dragon Link placement. These representatives arrived with heat maps showing player traffic patterns throughout the gaming floor. They identified high traffic zones and suggested repositioning Dragon Link banks to intersect those movement patterns. The incentive structure includes reduced leasing costs, comprehensive maintenance support, and promotional materials provided at no charge to the casino. Casinos benefit from predictable high-hold percentage machines concentrated in controllable floor locations. The Link Progressive system connects multiple machines within each bank, creating a community play atmosphere where players see others winning progressive jackpots without calculating the overall return percentage across all players. Tom described the long-term implications during his account. This manufacturer-casino partnership model is expanding to other machine series beyond Dragon Link. Industry insiders predict that within 5 years, 3 to 4 major manufacturers will control 80% of premium floor space through similar incentive programs. For players, this trend means reduced machine diversity, more concentrated play on high-hold games, and diminished ability to find better return percentage options. The mathematics across Dragon Link variants demonstrate why casinos accept these partnership terms. With an average 87% return rate, I'll consider a bank of 50 Dragon Link machines averaging $2 per bet and 600 spins daily per machine. The daily handle reaches $60,000. Expected house win totals $7,800 per day from a single machine bank. Annually, that single bank generates $2.8 million. No other machine type produces this level of consistent revenue with this degree of predictability, And that's precisely why the partnership model is spreading throughout the industry. So now you understand all 8 machines casinos deliberately push, and more importantly, you recognize the tactics behind each push strategy. 8 machines, 3 distinct push strategies, and 1 coordinated industry transformation. Lightning Link and Buffalo Diamond demonstrated physical placement tactics, positioned at entrances and along main walkways to intercept players during vulnerable decision moments. Wheel of Fortune 4D, Dancing Drums, and 88 Fortunes revealed the recommendation system, where hosts receive explicit training to direct players toward specific high-hold games disguised as helpful guidance. Huff and More Puff and Fu Dai Lian Lian Dragon exposed coordinated tactics targeting specific player interactions, from loyalty program enrollment to response patterns for machine recommendations. Dragon Link represents the future, a manufacturer-casino partnership model that's actively replacing diverse gaming floors with concentrated banks of predetermined high-hold machines. This information comes from dozens of former casino employees spanning multiple states and competing casino chains, and the consistency of their accounts reveals systematic practices rather than isolated incidents. Now you understand what you're observing when you walk onto a casino floor. Those prominent machines positioned within sight of the main entrance exist there because corporate directives mandate that placement. The friendly host recommendation directing you toward a specific game follows training protocols designed to maximize casino revenue rather than player advantage. Those entire banks of identical Dragon Link machines occupying premium floor space represent contractual agreements between manufacturers and casinos that prioritize predictable revenue over player choice. Knowledge changes everything about how you navigate these environments. You can recognize the physical placement patterns, understand the motivation behind staff recommendations, and identify the industry trends reshaping gaming floors. This isn't about never playing these specific machines. Some players enjoy them despite understanding the mathematics. This is about making informed decisions instead of unconsciously following paths casinos have deliberately constructed to guide your behavior and maximize their hold percentage. The Dragon Link partnership model is expanding rapidly across the industry. Over your next several casino visits, pay attention to what you observe. You'll notice entire banks featuring matching machine series, enhanced lighting packages highlighting specific games, tournament schedules concentrating player traffic toward predetermined machines, and promotional materials emphasizing the same manufacturers repeatedly. That's the partnership model in active operation, and recognizing it provides you context most players never develop. Less diversity, more concentration on proven high-hold machines, reduced player options, and increased manufacturer control over premium floor space. But now you can identify these patterns. You can make different choices based on understanding the business model operating behind the entertainment facade. You can recognize the game behind the game. If this information proved valuable, please subscribe to this channel. Casino employees risk substantial professional consequences sharing these operational details publicly, and wider awareness of these tactics benefits every player who walks through casino doors. Let me know in the comments whether you've noticed these 8 machines receiving prominent placement at your local casino, and whether hosts have recommended any of them during your visits. I have additional insider information coming about casino tactics most players never recognize, including promotional offer structures and loyalty program mechanics that operate very differently than players assume.